And because the migraines are invisible, I used to call when I had to go to my school to see my son was getting like, accelerated reader award or whatever, or sports. He played all the team sports. And I would get myself in the middle. I would have to go. I one time emailed the head of school and I said, can you tell me, he might have won the MVP. He did not, but he could have because he was doing these touchdowns. And he said, no, all parents have to attend. We don't tell people. Everyone has to go, which is like a normal. And I'm saying I'm not feeling well, but you can't see it, right? So I would do these Academy Award winning performances going, I look terrible. I would have like, the black yoga leggings, my hair's in a ponytail, no makeup, but I would go. I didn't say much. And just being out in the world with the light and the sound when you're supposed to be in a dark room, it would exacerbate it and make it even worse. And I have a scene in the book where after he doesn't win MVP, but I dragged myself to the assembly and I'm waiting for him and I just start to cry because I'm in so much pain. And the moms are looking at me and they think that I'm crying because he didn't win the trophy. So there's just I did a lot of crying when I was out because I shouldn't have been out. So then I got kind of a reputation of being like erratic and emotional and kind of like skittish and but then I couldn't volunteer anymore at my school, which is how you get like kind of more leverage for your children. And so they had a new head of school come. So I was kind of trying to meet with him because I was worried about some things going on with my son. And a woman at the church came to me and said, and I know she did it with good intentions. She said, Diana, he's married.
Were you still in the period of the migraines? That's what I just want to ask.
Yeah. What I was trying to say is I had all this kind of bullying by the other moms, loss of friendships I thought weren't just, do you have like a mom friendship transcends to like a really deep, like a season, a reason, and a lifetime? I thought some of these people were like lifetimers. And they not only gossiped about me and I felt like I was a bad mother and I lost them and they would like, but also I just, I felt like people thought I was trying to come on to like the headmaster.
The principal. Yeah.
And so I read once about when you take others, and I really couldn't process the pain of being dropped and like the different things that were happening because I was so busy trying to be a good mother and wife while I was in constant pain. So I think after I got better, all of a sudden, I took all the judgments and I made them my own. They said I was a bad mother. I felt like I was a bad mother. Like there's a chapter in my book called Bad Mother. And I really thought when I became mentally ill, I really thought that the Child Protective Services, I felt like they were going to come to my house. So one of the chapters is I'm in my son's room. He's like in 7th grade and I hadn't cleaned out his closet in years because of the migraines. And so then I thought, oh my gosh, I got a big trash bag. Nobody knows this. My husband didn't know this. My son didn't know this. I wrote it. It got, and they know now. Anyways, I was putting everything in the trash bag. I found his like first communion. I was going through his drawers looking for evidence that I was a bad mother. And I found it everywhere. I put it all in the trash bag. And then I thought, well, all the people on the Palisades, they already know I'm a bad mother. So I'm going to have to take this trash bag. I'm going to have to leave the house and I'm going to have to drive to Santa Monica and find a dumpster somewhere because if they come from Child Protective Services, if they see that I never cleaned out my son's closet and I never hung up the little prayer thing for my son's first communion, if they find any of these items, then they'll know. And then I actually ran into a police car who I thought was following me because of the trash bag.
Okay. So this is all when you were like starting to get.
No, now this is when I was mentally ill, when I was depressed, depression and anxiety.
But just so you
know. And a little bit of paranoia, not like clinical paranoia, but I was, I thought I took all the judgments for 5 years and then I put them against myself and lived that and felt, and you feel like you're a horrible person anyways when you're depressed. The self-loathing is insane.
Well, it kind of circles back to there's a reason I talked about it in the beginning, which is circling back to this moment. I love saying circling back, by the way. I say it a lot. I don't know why. It's so weird that I say this all the time. But in the beginning, I talked about, well, I start to believe these things. I start to believe the negative stuff. I went through the friend stuff too. And like I said, people would say horrible things about me. And then I would go, well, is it true? And so it's hard. It's hard. I can't imagine how painful it was. I know the Palisades. It's a very, even though I say to my listeners a lot, we live in LA, we both live in like bubbles. So
Right.
like there's small affluent communities in beach cities. And there's quite a few of them. Palisades is one direction, where I live is another direction. But there's cattiness, there's mean girl behavior, there's all this kind of stuff. So if you're already struggling with your mental health, which you were, and then so this all makes sense to me. And I'm so sorry to hear that you had to go through that.
Well, I'm so glad it makes sense to you, because sometimes I get interviewed and they're like, but how does the invisible illness relate to the mental illness? Like, how did it happen? And I think that I'm telling them, but they're not getting it.
Yeah. I think unless you have been to the point of, and I have, so not everybody has, but if you've been a female, and I do talk to young girls and women about this now, but if you've been in a friend group or a friendship group, like you just mentioned, where you think that these are lifelong friends and you trust them and you've had like fun times with them and you have all these like kind of like hopes and dreams with a group of women that you think will be in your life, and then it's kind of taken away, you feel robbed, and it kind of makes you have I'm talking for myself. It made me have major trust issues. And I just was talking to a dear friend of mine today about this. And I trust this friend. I'm very selective with my friends now, but I told my friend, I said, it makes me sad that I'm never going to be the Meghan that I was, where I was just so open to new people, like now I tend to, if I meet someone new, I start to go in my brain, are they going to hurt me too? Is this going to happen again? And I pull away. If one thing happens, I automatically pull away. And I have to explain that to my close friends. So I could see, if you happen to be one of the lucky people that has never experienced something like what you or I went through, it makes sense what you're saying, that they wouldn't understand it. So just know, I get it. And it's good to be heard, right?
And it's good to be seen.